What's up, everybody? I see the chat's filling up already, Jody.
Yes. Everybody, good morning. Scott, Dan Woodley, GB, welcome to the show. Do not have all your friends and families not to forget to hit the like and subscribe, shall we?
Yeah. We actually lost a subscriber last week or two.
Did we?
Yeah. That's what the stats say. And a couple people made comments and said made some awesome comments towards our show last week. They didn't like it. Some people didn't like it. They said we were picking on people. And even though if they watched the whole thing, they'd see that we actually were quite complimentary of the same people. But you know,
Gotta watch the whole show, people. Gotta watch the whole show. And
like the
besides,
only certain people are allowed to criticize certain people. That's what it seems like to me.
well,
Yeah.
we're not here to be liked. We just tell like it is. That's just the bottom line. If they don't like it, don't know what to tell them,
Like I said to back when Gabi and I had the show, we used to get criticized and people would say, "You guys are just doing this for the money." And I said, if we were doing this for the money, we would be talking about a different sport. Because I'm sure I could talk about NFL football and we get a whole bunch more subscribers. But
Oh, yeah.
where do you want to go today, Jody?
Well, since not a whole lot was going on, I know there was the Ottawa Open, but I didn't get a chance to see any highlights. But
there was like 700 entries at that thing.
It was like 703, I think, to be
Yeah.
exact. I think Eric put that out there. Can you imagine 700 plus entries?
Well,
how long is that tournament? How long would you think that tournament is?
I don't know if he expected that or not. Yeah, I don't know.
So
I don't know how long that went. They had several tables. It's been growing year over year, and
is that the biggest province in Canada?
Is Ontario the biggest?
Yeah.
Geographically, no.
Okay.
No, it is not. Quebec, I believe, is bigger. But you're basically on the Quebec border. There's many big cities in the area. Yes, Dan Woodley points out it's Devin's hometown. That definitely doesn't hurt, the fact that you're probably going to run into him there. You got guys that train for this event every year. And I mean, that Quebec typically, or last year they had 600 entries at their provincial championship. So right. That pool of arm wrestlers is also available to make the short trip to Ottawa.
Wow.
Big event, big record setting for an event in Canada outside of the WAF championships.
Congrats to everybody who competed there. So street level, welcome to the show, Arm Sports Entertainment, of course, Dan Woodley. So I thought today we go ahead and shift gears, right? With all the hoopla around who's the number one guy. And we always talk about the water cooler talk, right? What if? So I think, today let's play the what if game, right? Where would you say, what if a guy like, let's just say, Gary Goodrich had not walked away to do MMA and stuck with arm wrestling, where would he be in conversations?
Oh, you're starting off with a really easy one. Man, I don't know. Because Gary arguably was bigger and stronger as his career in mixed martial arts progressed. He fought in one of those very early UFCs and then spent the bulk of his career in Japan, doing everything from K1 kickboxing to the Pride Fighting Championships. Like he has a very, very long and decorated career. And I don't know if people realize just how popular he was. He was kind of treated like a gatekeeper in Pride for a while, but he was making way more money off of that than anything he could have done, maybe even to this day in arm wrestling.
Right.
So even with those big contracts, and we're talking like the John Brzenk level contracts that are enough to get him out of retirement and come back to the sport, where we're talking, high five figures to come and pull a match. I don't know. I don't know what Gary would have like. Gary was like his time in arm wrestling at the very pinnacle was relatively short.
I was going to ask you, wasn't it kind of short? But he did so much in that short amount of time.
He did a
And
ton in a very small window of time. But he beat Cleve Dean. He beat John Brzenk.
yes,
The guy that I think of that would
didn't he beat Jerry
probably,
Cataract too in his younger
yeah,
years?
sure
And
did.
Ron Bath, and we're talking about the cream of the crop guys he actually beat. So
Yeah, and the guy that actually I think about even more when we're talking about that what if scenario isn't Gary Goodrich. It's Scott Norton
yeah,
because he came in and killed everybody at Over the Top. I believe John is on record as saying, "Oh, Dan Woodley said Scott Norton." I believe John Brzezink's on record as saying he has never beaten Scott Norton.
and Scott Norton was taking people like Cleve Dean out in his prime.
Yeah, flashing them.
Yeah,
Flash pinned them at Over the Top. And if you go back and listen to the interview I did with Scott Norton, like he talks about these elite level lifts that he has like they're just a day at the office. Like he is a freak when it comes to strength. Like there's nobody to this day that is close to him in our sport. Nobody.
right.
And
And
I mean, he didn't really refine his skills all that much to have
which
success.
brings me to my next point. The minute you said refined his skills, can you imagine if somebody like Richard Lepke's had a training team and had technique? Can you imagine what he would have done?
See, Richard was so good at his couple of things he did well.
Right.
Um, I don't know that you could make him into a versatile arm wrestler
Well,
because he's like a block of concrete.
mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can make him somebody that's got agility on an arm wrestling table.
But the problem is, because remember, he was so dominant that he took time off and then he resurfaced. But when he came back, the game kind of changed. So it was
But he
kind of like,
still
oh,
had
okay,
massive success.
right. And he still had success, don't get me wrong, but it was like once you figure out what he did, you can kind of, get around that. And that just goes to tell you how good our sport is, that you can't stick to the same thing for so long. You can only do it for so long until you can't. And then at some point, you
Yeah.
got to, like for years and years and years, it was also about the hook. And then people started top rolling, which was frowned upon when it first, came on the landscape. And then people started getting like, oh, okay, maybe this is Then it got to a point where I even would say there were more hookers on the East Coast of the United States, and there were more top rollers on the West Coast of the United States. And then you got everybody in between, right?
You
There
take
was that.
Richard,
What's that?
you got to consider when Richard started arm wrestling,
Yeah.
most of the arm wrestling was sit down,
Yeah.
which favored his style tremendously.
Yeah.
You didn't have a huge top roll where the guy basically did a king's move. You didn't have the ability to do that.
Doing that whole elbow pass, by the way, too. Don't forget he
Yeah.
started with that.
So, I mean, Richard was, almost unstoppable on the sit down table. Who's going to beat him there?
I don't think he's lost a match, honestly. I want to say he said something like that.
The only guy that might have had a chance is Norton at
Right.
that time. And they kind of missed each other. Like it was just, yeah.
Now, the cream of the crop. And this is where I want the whole chat to chime in, right? Stacks, Woodley, GB, Arm Sports, Scott, whatever. Chime in on this because we're talking about the guy, the king of the hill right now, which is Devin Larratt, okay? And let's just talk about Devin and Levon, and, there's a couple guys on the next tier down. And again, this topic today is what if, right? What if Pushkar never got in that tragic car accident? Where do you think he'd be at in the mix of all this.
Yeah. Jody, you want to start on this one? Because I definitely have an opinion on this one.
Yeah. Prior to that fateful day, and actually, I think if I'm not mistaken, Oleg Zulk and Pushkar was headed to the Nemiroff Cup when that situation took place. And at the time, we're talking Pushkar was so dominant. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, that same year earlier or whatever, I think it was that Moldova. And I think you were there for that one, were you not?
No, that was the first. There was 2 versions of Moldova.
He was there at the first one.
Yeah, Pushkar was at the first one, and I was
Right.
at the second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Pushkar was dominant. I mean, at the time, it was like, and even Dennis was like, he was kind of half in, half out, But Pushkar was just a machine. And I think, in my opinion, I think Pushkar would be the guy to beat. It just so happens that because of what happened, they had to, annul somebody as the guy, and it happened to be, Levon. So it would have been nice to see how that would have happened, I will say this, though. I'm excited when Dennis came back and Vovoda, but it seemed like it was more sizzle and less steak, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
With the comeback stuff, because Alexei came back. I'm like, oh, Alexei, he's going to be in the mix now with, some of the top guys. And he just fell flat to John. I'm thinking, okay, does that mean he'll go away for the next 6-7 years now? Dennis came back, and when he came back against John, which I guess he's the gatekeeper in all this, when he came back against John, it was just like he beat John, but we didn't know, like, okay, we don't know how good Dennis is. And then he went against Devin, then we all knew what was going on. So we always have that what if. Like, if Pushkar were still here, what do you think would happen,
Oh, man. He'd either be right on top or he'd be somewhere in the middle.
Right.
So he wouldn't be, if he's not top like 1 or 2, he's probably down around 20. He either embraces the entire super match culture, every aspect of it, because you don't forget that Pushkar went to WAF championships for a meaningful period of time, over and over and over. Probably the strongest natural arm wrestler I ever felt. And from the time he started his career, there was drug testing at the Europeans and at WAF.
Yeah. And I miss guys like that who put in the hard work. And yes, Arm Sports, Dave Chafee taking time off and getting healthy is going to be scary next year. Yeah. I agree. But I do want to say this, because here's a topic that a lot of people, we talk about, and they kind of get away from it. It's what GB said. What percentage of you guys figure power strength versus technique? You want to take base? I'll give you my opinion.
You can't define that, because let's take a guy like Matt Mask. His ace is incredible. His move, his pronation, his low hand top roll. It's fantastic. But if you get stopped inside by somebody with Matt gets that, and that inner power comes into play, he has a lot of trouble. So at what point how can you define where that line is between power and technique? Because in some guys, if their technique fails, they can lose quite easily. And you got to add speed in there as another tangible. There's just different things for each and every single arm wrestler. You take a guy like, okay, I'll use Devin for an example. He's got tremendous power, very good table IQ, maybe the best, and his technique is flawless for his build. Like, how do you define where that line is for him?
I'm gonna say something. I want everybody to sit there and chime in on this. You too, Ryan. So, and it goes like this: World's Strongest Man, welcome to the show. I'm a technician. I am by no sense of the imagination a power puller, right? And I'm 5'11", 230, okay? Now, at some point, even though I'm a technician, everybody, that's not a secret, everybody knows I got this super quick hit, and it can be dangerous when necessary. And there have been times where sometimes that quickness, people prepare for that, and when they stop at K, I can get in trouble from time to time. So here's my theory on this. As a technician puller like me, and my style is technique, right? However, when that question is it power versus technique, it goes like this. At some point, you're going to need power and able to perform that technique. Do you not?
Absolutely, you do. You have to have enough power to perform the technique that you're doing. Now, I remember a guy, Perry Broom, made a T-shirt at one point that said arm wrestling is 80% technique, 80% power. That's pretty much the closest definition to it as I can think of, because it's varying in all situations. When people talk about power, they also tend to talk about how strong a guy's arm is, like inside hook power.
Mm-hmm.
They often don't refer to top rollers as having power. Guys that are really strong in the hand take control up top. Sometimes people call them runners, which is, weird to me. But they don't refer to that as having power. But arm wrestling, it cannot be put into a box where you say, oh, it's 60% power, it's 40% technique. Because any little tiny variation of anything can change that ratio tremendously.
First of all, running, you know what that means to me? If you're
Means they're
gripping
trying.
up and someone goes to slip and they go like this and then they bail and now they're holding on, that's running to me. That is not a top roll. Because there's no way you're controlling the hand. You're thumb wrenching, which I guess you can say that's running, but no. If you're gripped up and all of a sudden you go like this and you're top rolling, you still got somewhat control. But the minute someone does this and slide off and now you're doing that, that's running to me.
Okay, but what is that? Why is that negative if their goal is to get to the strap match where there is no longer any running because you're staying attached?
Man, this sport is so evolving because it goes like this. If I know somebody who, and a lot of us out here are probably better in the strap than they are out of a strap in some cases, right? Now, some people like to get in the strap. Hey, you want to go into the strap? And I'll be like, all right, a-hole, you want to go to a rest grip? And I'll eliminate that bullshit. But I'll say this. If somebody who has a weak wrist can hide that flaw in the strap, which is another reason why some people may want to go to strap, because they can hide that flaw. Like, my wrist is not that great. We go into the strap. I don't have to rely on the hand or the wrist. I can have the strap work for me. Do you agree?
No, because I think that if you have a weak wrist, not completely, I think that if you have a deficiency in your wrist,
Mm-hmm.
that can be exposed in the strap just as well. And once it's there, you can't come back from that unless you're going to go full on flop wrist press.
Well, do you think a flop press works better in or out of a strap? I think it works better in the strap than out of the strap.
Well, it definitely works better in the strap because a guy can just bail.
Well, no, I mean, to the point where if, not saying I would beat you, but if Espey and I are in a strap, I guarantee you I have more bite in the strap than I were out, because out of the strap, you can kind of climb and do this, where in the strap, you're so locked in, you can only climb so much. That's the only reason why I said that.
No, I 100% agree. Like, if I can hold on to you and your wrist is completely gone, I can dictate whether or not we go to the strap at all.
Right.
And maybe I don't want to, but if I can get a hold on it, like, when I pulled Cody, there were times when I was holding on to his fingers and maybe he wasn't sure he was going to get the strap.
Right.
But I mean, if a guy really wants to get there, a top level guy will get there.
Yeah. And if you look at what Timmy Turner's saying and GB saying, that, hey, Tazilla does not care. Look.
You know what? I got to disagree a little bit, because Toddzilla, while he is all about certain aspects of power, he has also trained himself very well to get to those points. And he's trained himself against a variety of opponents. So to say that, Todd will throw caution to the wind as far as technique goes, I don't believe that at all. I think he is way more technical than people give him credit for.
Now, the thing, I mean, you're never going to see him top roll the best. That's just not his
No,
bread and
because
butter.
that's not his thing. He doesn't do that. But
I've
you
seen
generally
it.
don't have to worry about him trying to top roll you.
Well, yeah, and I think, and when you watch,
but then again, we come back to that thing where people don't consider top rollers powerful. It's all about the inside power.
Well, yeah, I mean, they always go power. It's like, but what if you got power in the forearm? What if you got power, in the hand and wrist, Does that not carry any water? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it should.
Because Todd has got it down to a pat. But see, the thing with Todd, the stuff he does works for him. I could probably do every damn thing in the world that he does, and it may not work. And I've been experimenting with a certain person back and forth. We've been, talking it up, and I'm trying to redo my style right now, which is probably not the smartest thing to do when you have a match in 2 weeks. But what you do is that I'm talking to this person, back and forth, and I understand he told me it's going to take time. It's nothing you can learn overnight. I'm like, all right. And I told him that, with this new style, and I may even alter it some more, that the end goal is by the time Nationals rolls around next year and IFA Worlds, it'll be where it needs to be. The problem is that, it's just I'm starting to realize maybe that style may work for him, maybe not for me. So that's the thing I'm getting at, to where I can do everything a Brezink does, a Toddzilla does. Doesn't mean I'm going to have the same kind of success, because maybe I'm built differently. I don't have that enormous hand or thumb that John has. So maybe some of the stuff I'm doing that he does may not work for me. I don't have that tremendous side pressure that Toddzilla has. So maybe some of the stuff I do with him doesn't work for me. It all depends. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did we finish our conversation about Andre Pushkar?
No, sorry. We got kind of sidetracked. Sorry, everybody.
So I was going down the path of him being like the strongest, drug-free arm wrestler that I've ever experienced, ever felt. And I'm not saying that all the other guys are not. Oh, geez, Arm Sports Entertainment's drinking the Kool-Aid. But
he's talking about Ghana. He's talking about Ghana, which is, and guys, if you don't know, Ghana next year will be the WAF World Championships, whereas IFA Worlds will be in Greece. So
you can go and sit and enjoy yourself on the beautiful beaches of Greece, or you can go to Ghana, where it's just hot. So Pushkar, I'm not saying all the other guys are not drug-free, but Pushkar is proven drug-free. I've watched him get hauled away for the tests myself. So he comes over. I think he would be close to the top. He was the guy that was still giving Dennis trouble when Dennis was at his best. You can't ignore that.
No, you can't.
Technically, though, we saw what happened when he faced a much smaller version of Devin Larratt on his off arm. I don't know that you could claim that even if he evolved tremendously, that he would be at a Devin-like level.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of the what if, because you mentioned something, we talked about it earlier with him. Tournament, because there are some pullers out there, and we live in a world of super matches, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people out there are probably more fit to be tournament pullers than super match pullers. Do you agree?
Yes.
So if I say guys like Andre Pushkar, guys like Travis Bajan, who are more equipped and have better success as a tournament puller, whereas guys like a Michael Todd, Devin Larratt have more success as one-on-one format pulling.
I agreed with you until you said Travis.
You don't think so? You don't think Travis is a better tournament puller?
I think Travis is an excellent tournament puller. I think if Travis is trained properly and has enough time to focus on one guy, he's very, very dangerous for anybody.
Go ask Georgie.
That wasn't even close. Like Travis, I don't know where he was at, but he looked big. I didn't even grip up with him. Like there was no after pulling there. We just went off to the party.
And he might have been, I'm going to say 285 maybe, 290.
Yeah, he was like his shoulders and arms looked bigger than I've ever seen. Georgie did not come close in that match at all, ever.
Yes.
Yeah, like that was one-sided.
Like 3-0 one-sided, like not even, because there's matches that are 3-0 where, okay, here's the difference. And guys in the chat, check this out. So I'm going to give you two examples. Both outcomes are 3-0, but major difference. Now, was it 2018, 2019 when Travis pulled Georgie in that second Moldova?
What year do you think it was?
I want to say 2018.
Yeah, 2018. It was like a month after the Worlds in Turkey.
So Travis pulls Georgie, walks right through him 3-0. Like, I mean, and Georgie looks stronger now and healthier, where Georgie just looked like a lump of clay then. Still strong as shit, but just he was coming off, I believe, didn't he win WAF Worlds that year?
He didn't win. He got silver and he failed the drug test.
So, with that being said, just got manhandled. Like you said, wasn't even close, 3-0.
You got to remember that Levon was there that year.
Yeah. Now, take that same 3-0 and apply it to Todzilla and Angerbayev. Now, even though in the books, Todd, from a book standpoint, Todd, smoked him. But we all know within the match, it wasn't as easy as people may think. And that's the difference between when you have a 3-0, I'm whooping that ass, as a 3-0, I struggled but still got the 3-0 victory. There's that difference, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Like the competitive or not on the same planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you want to go, my friend? We got a few things here. You're talking about events and leagues.
Oh, I was just say, let's see here. Where would, first of all, and then let's talk about, I love this one because you're going to have a lot to say. What if, because that's the topic, right? What if the Arnold Classic offered a left-hand class? Where do you think people would be? Do you think that would ever maybe be a thing? You never say never, because remember, for a long time now, it was always that cusp of 199 and over, where you had 54, 76, 98, and 99 and over, right? I was at the last Arnold when they had that class, and then COVID came, and then 2021 it came back, and that's when they split that class into 242 and 243 and over. So what if the Arnold Classic offered a left-hand class?
Well, they would bring up a new crop of guys. Yeah, Arm Sports Entertainment. You'd see Pavlo there for sure. You'd probably have a lot more. You might have more guys that are upper towards the top rankings, even on both arms, if they had the opportunity to go and pull both arms. Yeah, the time. I agree with you on this one. The time constraints that they have make it very hard. They could do it on the side to see what the popularity is like.
Right.
There was a rumor last year that they were going to have an open left-hand class. One class.
That's the start.
That would be a start. I mean, the Arnold has evolved. Up until 2001, they only allowed Americans to pull. 2001 was the first year that Canadians were allowed. The classes have changed over the years.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, no heavyweight women were allowed. There was one weight class. I believe the cutoff was 135 pounds,
Oh, damn.
something like that. They only wanted the smallest of females arm wrestling there. And I'm not sure where they're at now. I think they've opened it back up.
Yeah. And Miss Dina Hayes, these two guys right here on the show are all about the left hand. So that's why I kind of brought that up, because it does bring out a different crop of athletes, pullers, because like for me, I have no reason to go back to the Arnold because my right hand is just trash now. So basically my right hand is only good for is to help out my team to get them ready for tournaments. I'm finding out more and more as I compete with this hand that it's not what it used to be. And it's almost to the point where, okay, I might just I'm just give you my entry fee because it's going to be crap, right? Maybe matches I can do something, but other than that, it's just not what it used to be anymore because of all the injuries and all that kind of. I mean, I have no rotation. I've done this before, right? Here, y'all see this? Now watch this. I can pronate this way, but then I can only go far as that way. That's not cool, right? I go like this. I go in cup. Here's my left. Here's my right. As far as I can go. So as you see, I got so much going on in my right hand that it's a pain in the ass. And it's almost like pointless to compete anymore. And I'm finding out more and more. But Ryan, as you know, and I know, and everybody else there, when you're a competitor, the one day you feel like, oh, it feels good, dude, I'm going to go ahead and compete. And then you realize halfway through the tournament, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I can relate a little bit, but I have had pretty good success with my right arm over the years. Like it's maybe one tick below my left. Like it's still okay. Like when it was at its best.
Oh, hey, did you see what yes, Dina Hayes. She's part of the left hand, that's right. Arm Sports says, and I quote, never say never, Espey. Washington State next weekend. If you are not doing anything, if you're not busy, there's always another tournament.
Well, I think Tim, we got to talk about Arizona State's. Yeah. Your drunken offers up here in Canada.
GB says, Jody, find someone who does active release to break up all that scar stuck tissue. And it feels like, because the actual pain is right here. So you see that wrist bone. So I don't know if there's like a tendon that's rolling off back and forth that just creates so much pain. It's just like, and I don't think that of course, the easy thing would be, oh, go get stem cells. I don't have 40 grand in my couch cushions. So that is not what's going on over there. So, but yeah, that's just, would love to see a left-handed format, but we all know, because you've been to the Arnold. All right, 11:30, get the fuck off the stage. We got to get ready for powerlifting or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And wherever you left off,
jazzercise.
Yeah, wherever you left off, the next day you continue. And you may continue on a different stage than you were on day one. That's how crazy it is.
Every year I was there, it was always the same stage as on day two. But you had to have a whole table for Crazy George's class because it took the whole hour to get through his division.
Right. Tournaments. One tournament I never had the opportunity to be a part of, but it's no longer. But you've been there before. The Mike Gould Classic.
Well, I would say that Eric has probably.
Hey, keep that comment up there for a second as you go ahead and explain what Eric was saying. Go ahead.
I think Eric's tournament has kind of taken over for the Mike Gould Classic as the big event. But the Mike Gould Classic was always one of the best cash tournaments in Canada. I went once, and I went on UA. It was UAL 9, so the Ultimate Arm Wrestling League.
Oh, the last one.
Collaborated with the Mike Gould Classic on the last one. Awesome event. Great event in Toronto. But I think Eric's has kind of replaced it in a way. I think 2 massive tournaments like that probably would hurt each other a little bit because people might pick one over the other.
Mhm.
But I think the Mike Cool Classic would, if it would have kept going, would have grown into what the Ottawa Open is right now.
Gotcha. And hold on, I read that comment from Tim because I got to take my hoodie off. I'm getting hot now after seeing that. And Tim, feel free to freaking elaborate on that because man, good Lord, oh my Lord. Let me see if I understood this right. So it's saying, let's just say if you come to Washington State, you will have a chance to win stem cell treatment. So hold on for a second. What exactly does that mean? Does that mean you got to win a class? How does that work out? Tim, don't be saying that kind of stuff and then leaving us all hanging. Don't do that, man. What's up? Talk to us.
Yeah. Does everyone that enters get it entered into a draw? What is it?
Is that the golden ticket where they fucking like pull a ticket or what?
The what?
No, seriously, I mean, because now we all know nowadays that is the latest and greatest, the stem cells. And man, let's be real. It's just I'm not really sure. I never really thought about that. So I never did any kind of research, but it seems like, here we are,
Yeah. Now, I used to get criticized heavily for not going to the Mike Gold Classic every year. It
What?
always fell on my ex-wife's birthday. Every year.
Well,
It was, had I known she'd be my ex-wife, maybe I'd have went. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, because our son's birthday always falls, it's November 10th, but around that time it's always the John Brzezinski Cup, which is an event I would love to go to, but we do stuff at home for that. Everyone who takes top 3 in the Pro and Masters class will get a raffle ticket. Winning ticket will win a free VitaCell stem cell treatment. Damn it, now I gotta go fucking pull Masters now, sons of bitches, because I'm telling you right now, my whole plan, because in case you guys haven't noticed, this guy right here, I do work for Arm Sports Entertainment. Cheers, by the way, Arm Sports. So I got Arm Sports Entertainment duties that day, next Saturday. So my plan is to go ahead and beat Paul Stevens in our super match. Uncle John will be there, by the way. And no, we're not going to clash, but never say never. Now then, and then I was going to pull my master's right hand just to see what happens. Because I want to save this because I have a potential match in January left-handed, which we cannot talk about now until that particular person happens to share it, right?
Okay. I will not talk about that event.
It's going to be a happening, though. Good Lord. However,
but you got to place top 3 now. You got to go there. You got to place top 3 just to possibly win a VitaCell stem cell treatment.
Open and Masters. All right.
They
Sounds
should just
good.
offer up to Masters because they need a lot more.
Duh. Dude, I'll be 48 years old in like just under 3 months. Okay? So let's get that straight.
Oh, my God. Look at this. He's throwing it out there.
Oh, I might give away 2 of them. The second one will be, oh, yeah. Well, Ryan, looks like you better tell Victoria, hey.
I'm out until the new year, buddy. I'm out until the new year.
Can you imagine? Because, look.
Oh, my God. Oh, yep. I'm not. None that I can tell on here.
Well, I'll tell you what, because you got to understand, and I'm going to have Uncle John on my show and Tim this Friday, by the way, the day after Thanksgiving, and we're going to talk turkey about Washington State. Now, you must know that Uncle John and I are doing play-by-play, just like last year. So, can you imagine if Uncle John was, is there and Arm Talker's there, and somehow I got Espey doing this. Then Arm Talk all of a sudden goes into like Can-Am Connection on site, on location. Never say never.
Yeah.
But if I know my co-host, he pretty much sticks to his guns, and he's good for that. So
yeah. We gotta Tim, we gotta talk about the other event though, for sure, because that might be one that I make the trip.
yeah. Who doesn't want to go to Arizona, right?
Never been.
Can I give you some advice? Don't be like me and go to Arizona in July.
I've been to Vegas in July. It wasn't fun.
Yeah,
It was fun, but it wasn't fun walking around during the day. Imagine this: a Honda Fit. You ever seen a Honda Fit?
Mm-mm.
They're like the tiniest little car, little hatchback thing, piece of junk, throwaway car.
They didn't have an SUV?
That's what we were driving. That was me, Matt Mask, Fraser Benoit, Mark Gay, and J.P. Paris driving from the hotel to the venue in this little Honda Fit in Las Vegas.
Uh-oh, did you see the date? June 1st, Arizona State?
Yeah, that looks good.
There you go.
I will have already had my my match with Robbie Burnett, and Robbie looks good, man. Have you seen his training footage?
He's looking very good. So it makes me wonder. I'm like, okay, does that motivate you to go, okay, I better get in gear or what? When exactly is that match?
March. I got the dates in my schedule, but it's March.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And you know what sucks? And I know it doesn't affect you as much, but talking with Corey Miller, I'm sure you're aware of the Aries 64-man Super Series, right? Have I told you about that?
Say that all again. I got distracted for 2 seconds.
So Frank Callahan out of Texas, Corey Miller out of Wyoming, they put on the Aries rating, which is actually a lot better than the rankings right now, right? They break it every down. And they got this 64-man Super Series match, super match, right? So basically, it's just 64-man class, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's not the cream of the crop because that kind of defeats the purpose. So depending on what your rating number is, 15, 50, and below, they're going to put your name in there. And if you're like 1 to 64, you get to compete. It's all or nothing. So you win. Top prize is $5,000. Now, you can use that $5,000 and keep and do whatever the hell you want with it. Or use that $5,000 and say, hey, I'm a sponsored athlete by the Aries system, which means when you go to tournaments, you got to wear the shirt. No big deal. Well, that $5,000, you can use that $5,000 for airfare. You can use it for entry fee, hotel accommodations, what have you. Go to any tournament you want to do. And he got a hold of me the other day and was like, hey, thinking about doing the 242 class because my right hand is garbage. And that's why I qualify for that. He was like, we're thinking about doing the 242 class, 64-man series, March 2nd. So, and I'm like, the way my hand is acting now, I might have to bow out. But you know what? It's March 2nd. And I'm going to tell you right now, next year is going to be real. I don't want to say I'm scaled back because I got a lot of stuff going on. I'm pretty sure you've talked to the missus about this. I talked to my missus and go, you know what? If the main goal is to go to Worlds, right? Of course, you have to go down that rabbit hole, which means I have to go to Nationals. April, Ohio. Got to do that, which means I have to scale back a lot of tournaments. I got this big one coming up in January. I'm sure I'll hear more about in the next coming weeks, and then it can be announced and go from there. But I'm not going to be able to go to this tournament, that tournament, and that tournament like this year. So, yeah, got some decisions to make, sir.
Yeah, me too. But the Aries thing, I don't understand. What's the difference between getting handed $5,000 or being able to just spend it in increments?
You have the option to do it. Once you win, it's yours. You can do what you want with it.
Okay. But the sponsorship thing is basically just a T-shirt saying that you're sponsored by them.
Well, you've earned that. Hey, if you're gonna go do this, represent us. I'm going to this tournament. It can, because the way Corey explained it, if I really wanted to, he goes, come to this one, win the $5,000, and then you could pretty much have the majority, if not all, your stuff paid for when you go to Worlds. I'm like, that's one way of looking at it.
Oh, I see you. Okay, this is
okay, that makes sense then.
That's different. Okay, now it makes sense.
And yes, Andre, Washington State is a double elimination event.
So that is a little extra incentive for the sponsor thing.
And the thing, and that's cool because now it's just something different. I think everybody, it also gives some shine on people who may not be household names. So no, you're not going to see people like Cody Merritt in there. You're not going to see Corey West in there because those guys, they're elite. They're doing what they do. And speaking of Cody Merritt, do you know, I already sent to you, but there's the chat know he is headed to Knuckles Up.
I saw that.
It's been announced, everybody. It's not a secret.
Yeah, it's been on social media. So it's Camille versus Cody Merritt.
How do you think that goes?
Cody, and not very hard.
Yeah,
I'm just going by what I know. I've gripped up with Camille. He's a good arm wrestler. I think Cody's power is just too much.
So he was at the same when you went to the Knuckles Up. He was at the same card, was he not?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you guys after pulled. Tell us what was that like?
See, I hate doing this to a guy with an after pull, but he didn't pull left-handed in the event. I did.
Oh, okay.
We gripped up a little bit. His press felt good, like his flop wrist press, but I don't know if that's going to be a good match. I think Cody, unless he really gets caught out here in that press for a long time, Cody will win 3-0. Camille's one shot is to catch him somewhere and wear him out. But I also think Cody is smarter than that. And Cody will just let his arm go down and, live to fight another day. Right. If he gets caught in a big war where he's at such a weird disadvantage where he's way stretched out, not good. But I don't think it's going to be a good day for Camille.
That's going to be interesting. I tell you that. That will be interesting.
I have let them know that I will be sitting on my couch ready if they need fill-in matches, if they need somebody to replace an injured athlete, or if WAF pulls their stuff again where they say, if you go to this event, we're going to ban you, because I don't care about that stuff.
Well, who's to say that they're done with matches, though?
They're not, but I do stay in communication with them. So it's they don't have someone for me right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who would you like? Let me ask you this question.
I think before I answer your question that they have all of their matches set. I think they're announcing them strategically to keep the hype growing.
Which is smart, which is why the event I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's right. So you were going to ask me who I'd want to pull?
Who would you like to pull if you got the opportunity on that card? Say Ryan.
I would have pulled Camille in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, either arm. I would have pulled him on that card. Krasimir was tossed around.
Yeah, but is he like?
I don't know where he's at now. I don't know where he's at. Yeah, Cody.
Yes, Cody. We were just talking about you, Cody. You see, Cody's in the chat now.
I changed my mind. Camille's going to win that match.
We were just talking about the match that got announced.
We're saying all these nice things, and now he's here, so we have to stop.
Yeah, I mean, because honestly, it's just like, I'm glad actually he chimed in, because I'm looking, going, okay, he looked amazing. Like, the thing is, though, people in the chat, Ryan, you already know this. Last time we saw Cody, it was what? The last two East versus West didn't go his way. No big deal. And so everybody's kind of going, okay, what's wrong with Cody? Is he hurt? This, that, and the other. I'm here to tell you, I was down in San Diego a couple weekends ago for the World Series of Armwrestling Championships. And when he did the Corey West was like, okay, yes, we love you too, Cody. And I'm telling you, it was like the way he pulled Corey West and beat him. It's like going,
Are you allowed to talk about that?
huh? We could talk about that.
Oh, I thought that was a big secret.
No.
The World Series results.
Everyone talks about you. Have you seen people showing their medals and stuff and watches and everything?
I don't pay attention half the time.
You just couldn't show any footage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So here we got Cody, who is like, back on top of the North American rankings.
There you go. He hates us though, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Or he should be back on top of the North American rankings. I mean, who else would you put up there? Who else could be on top, possibly? I mean, what, Devin was like third?
Yeah, something like that. I don't.
And he hasn't done anything but he's about to pull. No, he's not. Is he about to pull left-handed somewhere? No, he's not. He's got nothing coming up.
It was already leaked out by not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before.
What was?
Devin's next left-handed match.
Leaked? Who is it and where is it? Can you talk about it?
Well, yeah, it's already been talked about. If you follow Neil Pickup's show on Sundays, he talked about it.
Yeah, I don't have time to watch 4 hours of arm wrestling talk, though.
Hey, so let me, if you guys in the chat want me to say it, I'll say it, right? So, but the thing is, though, is that we know Devin's next right-handed match.
Well, we know that because it's coming up in December the 9th against Georgie.
Yeah, so I'll say it because the guy already talked about it. See, when people talk about it, then I can have free range, right? Yes.
Say it.
Okay, so it's not a secret. January, because Neil said it on his show.
He did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'll say it. Devin's next left-handed match would be against Corey West. Arm Wars, Las Vegas. And I'm only saying that because Neil already said it.
Glad it was you, not me.
He already said it. I mean, if you watched it, matter of fact, when he said it, Paul Lynn was on the show. It actually was on it.
Okay, so here we go. This is a builder. Cody's going to win against Camille, and Devin is probably going to win against Corey, and it will set up the match between Cody and Devin at some point in the future.
I'd say later in the year. That's 2024, if you want to be honest.
And then the winner is the undisputed #1 North America ranking. So that's how it goes.
But the question is, though, and since we're just kind of playing devil's advocate, and again, it's all good, guys, because Neil already mentioned it. So here's the deal. Let's play devil's advocate. Cody wins his match at Knuckles Up. Devin beats Corey at Arm Wars, and then you got this build up here. Now the question is, who puts on that match?
Oh, man. I mean,
is it King of the Table? Is it East versus West?
Probably East versus West, I would think. Well, you know what? It's one of those two, for sure.
Is it Knuckles Up?
I think Knuckles Up would try to have it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'd give it a go.
That's the $1 million question. So,
but it's left-handed, so in theory, Devin can do that match wherever he wants. Like there's no I haven't seen his contract. I don't know what's in it, but the intel that I have is that it locks up people's dominant arm for their league, and they can do what they want outside of that. And Devin's kind of shown that. Otherwise, he wouldn't be pulling at arm wars against somebody left-handed. It's big news. I hope everyone watches to the end if you're coming back during the week, because a lot of people would not have heard that announcement on Neil's show.
Oh, if you watch the show, I mean, I'm sitting up here, I'm doing yard work, like I'm raking leaves and shit. So I got my earbuds on, I'm raking leaves, and I can't just sit like right now, sit and watch on a laptop. I got to be doing something, whether it be chores or whatever, if I'm doing that, Yeah, I mean, there's that. The rules don't benefit them, so it all depends on, where you pull them at, who takes that match on, this, that, and the other. Yes. So even Cody mentioned it has to benefit both pools, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Cody, my only suggestion to you, if you're going to pull Devin Larratt, is ask for a referee that is being brought in there only to referee that match, not a couple of refs that have spent the entire day refereeing other professionals and then referees the hardest match to referee at the end of the day.
And I know for a fact that if these guys lock up on the table, you will be the very last match of the day.
Yeah.
I don't care if you bring in everybody's at whatever event that is, and all of a sudden you got Leonard Harkless drinking water. I'm only here for one match. That's it. So be it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there we go. Andre makes an interesting point here. Never have a West versus West match.
It makes sense, because why would you go, now thinking about it, why would you travel over to Turkey just to have two guys that can do it right here in our own country? You know what I mean?
I think the most likely is probably arm wars. But Knuckles Up would have a real good shot at having that match.
Who knows? Maybe Arm Sports Entertainment
is showing a little bit of interest here with their protest by emoji for us not even mentioning them. Sorry, Tim.
Hey, I mean, never say never, right?
Maybe it's going to happen at the next North versus South. No.
No. Hey, no.
What?
No. That would be ideal if Arm Sports Entertainment took over that. Because think about it. North versus South. That is the right there. You don't have to leave.
Maybe, Jody.
When are they gonna do? I've been hearing that for the fucking last 3 years, man. I mean, honestly, if they're gonna do that, when?
It's coming.
And by the way,
it's coming, Jody. It's coming.
There weren't too many left-hand matches. And honestly, can I be frank? There was only one left-hand match, if I'm not mistaken, in that entire Super Series. Was it not? It was Devin and Wagner, was it not?
Yeah, but if you have Devin and someone that wants to go against Devin, I think they would be game to do it again.
Well, fine, but open the floodgates on that. Seriously.
Yeah.
Monster Factory, new facilities will probably try to have it. Yeah, but do they have the financial? We're talking Cody and Devin. Do they have the financials to back that up is where I'm getting at. Yeah, if Wall came back, awesome. Win. And you got a Wall shirt on, so you must have got an email or something.
I'm just keeping hope alive, buddy. They're coming. Believe.
Oh, yeah. We believe.
Conceive, believe, achieve. World Arm Wrestling League coming back.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, if they go make it separate, wouldn't it be cool if they had like every other event, they go, okay, this month, hey, we're going to kick things off in March. It's going to be right-handed, okay? Then, May, it's going to be a left-handed. Then, you just kind of alternate. That way it keeps people fresh. You know what I mean? It keeps people intrigued. I'm just Thinking of myself, though. That's sorry.
WL's coming back, and I'm going to be there, and we're going to do it. And it's going to happen, and I'm going to wear this T-shirt at my practice tonight. I'm going to tag them in some footage, and I'm going to try to see if I can get a response out of them.
I'm sure they've been tagged by a lot of people. Hell, back on East Coast, they've been having tournaments sponsored by Wall. I'm thinking, how the hell y'all getting sponsored by Wall? They do that over there.
Wasn't the first King of the Table like in conjunction with World Arm Wrestling League? Like there was a thing about that because Larry Wheels, I think, had an agreement because they had not closed up shop at that point.
Not officially, no.
Yeah.
But now I don't think Larry Wheels is involved with King of the Table anymore, is he? Or does he have a match?
He's pulling at the next one.
Yes, I forgot. He
got
does have a match.
So we got to start talking about that one. That's not too far off. I know there was some prediction shows coming out already, but
isn't that next weekend?
It's 3 weekends from now.
Oh no, it's the weekend after. Okay.
Yeah.
Woo. Yeah. We got prediction show next week, man. Next Tuesday on our show, we got predictions. Because the Monster Factory is December 2nd. Washington State is December 2nd. Boy, we got some predictions for next week.
Is it December the 2nd, Monster Factory? I thought it was the 9th as well. Maybe it is the 2nd.
2nd.
Okay, we got to get that match card, and we'll talk about them next week.
God, that's like 24 matches. You know that, right?
Yeah.
It feels like
we're going to have to go fast on some of them.
Yeah, so, we're going to have to do that. So, guys, thanks for joining us on the show. We've been on here for a little bit over an hour. Hope you guys liked it. It was more of a what if. It started off, and then we kind of went off the side rails. But it was informative. Cody, chimed in because he has a match coming up on the High Five Guys, right? Knuckles Left. We talked about not a secret because Neil already announced it. Therefore, it's not a secret anymore if you're watching the show. Devin Larrick, Corey West, Left Hand Arm Wars. There you go. So, with that being said, Mr. Rick Martell, Tom Zink, signing off. Next week, everybody. Let's get it done.
Everybody.
Don't forget, Friday, 10 a.m. Let's do it because Arm Talk will be on. Tim Thomas will be on the show. Uncle John will be on the show. Let's talk Washington State and super matches there. And who knows, maybe some other stuff. So Friday, check us out, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Everybody, see you then.